A.Wright. I go by A.Wright for my music career. I'm from Shirts, Texas.
I'm David Porter. I'm from New Braunfels, Texas. It's good to be here.
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for coming by.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Shirts, Texas, man, that's where I just moved to.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up there? Pretty quiet? It's blowing up now, I feel like. It's getting pretty popular.
Well, I've been there since about 2006, and yeah, I mean, it started off pretty quiet, and just over the years, it's just blown up. I mean, it's ridiculous down there, and like it's a town of, I think, maybe was it 30 or 40,000 people, but like just in the span of the last 2 or 3 years, they put like 2 movie theaters out there and like a
right
whole
across the street
yeah,
from each other.
well, like right next to each other, and then like a strip mall and all that. So it's blown up. It's been ridiculous, but yeah, it's grown quite a bit.
Heck yeah! So
sure.
how did you two meet?
We met
through my dad.
Yeah, actually, what it was, we met through his dad. Like his dad's known me for a little while now, and his dad used to ask me to come and play on some of his sessions whenever he would record.
Mm-hmm.
But I've known
before
about
that. Yeah, even before that, my dad was a huge fan of Anthony, and so I was seeing Anthony when I was like 16 or 15 or so. I used to think, dude, this guy's crazy, and it's cool now because I'm crazy with him.
But, good way to put it.
Yeah, and my dad had him on some sessions, and so I had heard him like a lot of my dad's recordings, and I guess my dad just called me one day and he was like, "Hey, Anthony Wright's sending you a song list or something, like you got to try it for his band, man." I'm like, okay. And yeah, here we are.
And your dad plays music, right? Which group is he in?
So my dad is in the Tex Porter band. Look in both cameras for that one. Tex Porter bands, because he's going to like that I shouted him out. But he plays music a lot, and he has a lot of originals, and he's been playing music for a long time. And he kind of got me into it too.
Heck yeah. So you met his father just through the music scene around?
Yeah, when I would go up to play in New Braunfels, his dad would come out and catch a show, and sometimes he would come out and bring the whole family. I think one of the first times I actually did like get a chance to meet you was I did at the time I was doing some tribute shows, and I did a tribute show there's a theater called the Brontex Theater in New Braunfels, and I think I was doing a tribute to it was a tribute to ZZ Top and Jimi Hendrix that night.
Mm-hmm.
And actually I think I'd heard about his dad initially through Facebook, but my bass player at the time, Steve, was actually, well, still is, their next door neighbor. Yeah. So like he brought them in, and I think that was the first time I actually really did meet you guys. But yeah, I formally met him, I think, that night when we did that show in New Braunfels.
Yeah, and there's a really cool old picture, like, I guess it was 2019? No,
2016.
2016, and it's a really old picture of me holding a bass next to him before I even thought I would ever play bass for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, and so I thought that was really cool when I found that out. But yeah, I remember a lot of times seeing Anthony and being really impressed. Yeah.
Got to give another shout out, actually, and this also applies to your dad too. His dad's also the reason that I know the drummer that we play with, Pete Sengler. Mm-hmm. Hey, Pete, if you're watching, hey.
What up?
But yeah, we know Pete through him because his dad brought me in on a session to play, and Pete was the drummer, and we were just talking, and it kind of just something kind of happened from there. And so
you guys kind of keep like the music within somewhat of a family unit, everyone kind of knows each other, or like. I
guess, I mean, it's not really like keeping it within. It just so happened to be that like through these instances and through these gatherings and playing on sessions that I kind of got a chance to know and meet everybody and bring everybody in.
Beautiful,
yeah.
So. When it comes to songwriting, what gives you motivation for lyrics? Or do you pull lyrics out of just everyday life kind of thing, or past experiences?
It depends. I mean, sometimes, it's past experiences. Other times, sometimes it's really interesting. Like, I'll have... Because the process, it depends. Because sometimes it'll be the music first, or sometimes I'll come up with something lyrically that makes sense. I mean... Like for me, a typical way I've written is I have the music, and then for whatever reason, I'll have like a melody or even a phrase. There's like a phrase that comes to mind, and I'll start writing around that phrase, and then it might develop into something. And then there are other times where there's a song where I have a certain idea for it, and I know what I want to talk about, but it's just trying to figure out the right way to approach it. And I do things that way. Other times it's words first, and sometimes I'll just come up with the music in my head, which is pretty. It'll usually be some pretty simple song.
Just while you're playing, it kind of just.
Well, I'll have like an idea of the chords in my head as I'm writing out the tunes. Like I'll have an idea for the feel and all this and that, but it just depends. Like sometimes the lyrics come first, sometimes the music comes first. It's just kind of whatever works. And honestly, a lot of times where I come up with something, and it's kind of inconvenient, but I come up with some stuff sometimes when I'm driving. Because like when you have that time, you're out there, and like especially if it's a long trip I got to make. Like, you're just doing there nothing, so you're kind of thinking to yourself, and then all of a sudden something will come to you. Of course, it's not very wise, but I'll grab my phone and say, like, I'll dictate into the phone as I'm driving what the words are. But
whatever you're humming or just kind of feeling at the time.
Yeah, or even just lyrics or a vocal melody. Obviously, though, it takes a hand off the wheel, which, you know, it's not ideal. But you gotta do it somehow, because you never know. Once you get home, that idea could be gone.
No doubt.
So you got to capture it while it's fresh.
Risking your life.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
music.
so
Music
far
is life, man.
So far, my luck's been pretty good. I haven't had issues with that while dictating an idea. But yeah, you could say that. But so far, I've been okay.
You can focus on.
Chair's wooden, so there you go.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So, do you guys have any guitarists or bassists that you idolize, or that you grew up kind of listening to, that you were drawn to, that kind of made you play music today?
You want me to go? Yeah.
You go and talk first.
Yeah, one of the first ones that really got me into bass was Geddy Lee. And that was one of the things that my dad showed me. He was a big Rush fan, and for a long, long time, Geddy Lee was my favorite bass player, and I learned a bunch of Rush songs, and it blossomed from there. But there's it's been a long line of me really liking Geddy Lee. Newer bass players that I really enjoy is like Joe Dart of Wolfpack. Going back again, Bootsy Collins. I really like Bootsy Collins and a lot of like soul guys, funk stuff. And but I mean, it'll be random songs that I hear, that just play on my Spotify, and I hear a cool bass line that really inspires me. It's not like a lot of one stream.
Right.
It's everything, like
okay.
It's ever going, ever changing. Yeah. Who knows what it'll be in 10 years, but yeah.
So I started life, kind of more as a blues man for the most part. I mean, I was exposed to Stevie Ray Vaughan at a very young age. I remember being about 3 years old, driving around with my dad in an old Geo Tracker, which my sister still has. It's still working somehow, but it's working. But yeah, I remember listening to that thing on tape to date it a bit. But yeah, when I was about 3 years old, and then hearing a bunch of other things. I remember when I was really young, it was Stevie Ray. There'd be stuff like Travis Tritt, which is more country. Some ZZ Top here and there. Marty Stewart was another one. Eventually, when I got older, and this might sound interesting, but I actually got into metal a bit, like around 10, 11, and hard rock. So I was big into AC/DC. I was big into like Judas Priest, all that stuff. And that was what I was doing for a while. I didn't really get into blues, I would say, until I was probably about like 14 or 15. And that's when I was doing that. And I did blues for a little while. And then I started kind of opening up my palette a bit with country. I started listening to some more like, Johnny Cash, Merle, Waylon Willie, the normal ones. If we're talking 90s, Dwight Yoakam, Alan Jackson, a little bit of Garth, a little bit of George Strait, all that. And then, like, recently, like, I'd say maybe 3 years ago, I started listening to, like, a lot more singer-songwriter type things. So your Townes Van Zants, your Guy Clarks, your some John Price, your Blaze Foleys, all that type of stuff. Steve Earle's another one, if we're talking that country singer-songwriter thing. I started listening to a lot of that, and the singer-songwriter thing's cool because for me, I could kind of lean really kind of whichever way I want, where I can make it sound a bit more country, or I can even make it sound more like a finger-picked blues thing. Like one guy that I got into recently, who I found out through that Towns Van Zandt dude was Mance Lipscomb, I think is his name. Kind of this old blues guy who did a lot of finger picking, and he's unbelievable. He was unbelievable. But that's kind of where I'm at now. A lot of actually my stuff that I do, because I also do a lot of finger picking, I took classical guitar when I was young. So I learned, with my first guitar lessons, I learned how to not play with the pick for a while. And then eventually when I started picking up electric, then I started using a pick. But that's kind of why I'm able to switch a little bit, is I have that foundation in classical guitar.
Did you start on nylon strings
Yeah.
then? Like plucking?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Because we had we had a bunch of old guitars that were, we had some guitars at the time that we were using, but like my dad has an acoustic guitar that at the time, it just hurt to play. So eventually they got me a nylon one, and it's like, oh, okay, this works. Which, is one of the best things you could do, because, the last thing you want is it's too hard because, strings are hard.
Then you just build speed on nylon, I think. If you're starting out on guitar, like, speed-wise, like, it's just easier to sweep.
You could, yeah, I mean, you can.
Strings, I guess.
You can. I mean, yeah, it's easier to maneuver on it because it's more comfortable. But, yeah, I mean, just for me, I was doing a lot of classical lessons for a while, and then, like I said, around age 10, 11, when I was kind of in that hard rock heavy metal phase, that's when I started picking up more electric and playing a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
And, I just kind of... It's funny. Like, I remember just running some scales at 10, like, playing AC/DC licks and whatnot, and then I'm here now. Like, I don't remember how I got to where I am, but it happened, so...
That's so do you guys have any, like, guilty pleasure songs that you don't want anyone to know about? Like, any, like...
Dave does.
Like, pop songs that you really love that you don't want anyone to know, ever?
Gwen Stefani, man. Gwen
she's
Stefani.
amazing.
Yeah, I like Gwen Stefani. Oh, man. I don't know how much I want to review.
That's perfect. I mean, Gwen Stefani.
Gwen Stefani. I'll leave it at Gwen Stefani.
I mean, she's a legend in my book.
Yeah, she is a legend.
Yeah.
I like her a lot.
Can't go wrong with No Doubt.
I mean, I know I probably have a few. I'm trying to remember some off the top of my head. I don't know if I call it a guilty pleasure, but I know, like, there's bands like the Smiths and Morrissey.
Yeah.
Like, that guy, there's just something about his voice. Like, he's just got something. It's a great sounding voice. I'm trying to think, guilty pleasure. I will say this. I do like some of, like, Lady Gaga's stuff.
No doubt.
I am a fan.
Wow.
Like,
She's actually
especially-
good on piano.
She is,
can turn
but
up.
like for example, on my phone right now, I have, like, for example, like, Applause from back, which is cool because that takes me back to, like, senior year of high school. But I listen to it, it's like, yeah, this is a good song. Like, this is
She
a
rocks.
yeah, no, I mad respect for what she does. I mean, she's excellent.
Okay.
And I'll maybe add one more. Frank Zappa, just because it's not like a guilty pleasure, but that dude is weird. And every time I'm with the homies and I want to listen to Frank Zappa, I don't. Because I know if I do, they're going to be like, bro, you got to go, man.
But they'll learn eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Frank
like
Zappa
a
would lose
prophet,
me some
man.
friends, but I love Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
Is that why you pointed out the pig nose?
Yeah, well, yeah, because I saw that old whatever TV show he was on. He used that pig nose, and also Terry Kath, because he had a Telecaster with a bunch of pig nose stickers on it. But yeah, that pig nose is sweet. And Frank Zappa, that dude is weird, but I love him. I love him so
We had
much.
on one of the sessions here, this band come through. Great guitar player. He has vintage gear up and down all the time. He always got something new.
Yeah.
And he brought in a Les Paul that belonged to Frank Zappa.
What?
He bought it off one of his road guys, and the neck of it looked like it came from the bottom of, like, where the Titanic is.
That is so cool.
It was so cool, dude.
Melted.
Yeah.
It was.
Sweat.
I was afraid to touch it. Triple humbuckers, 16 dB boost. It was insane.
Well, I was eyeing your SG because I want an SG now just because of Frank Zappa and Tony Iommi and Santana. But Frank Zappa is the SG guy to me.
All right.
Yeah.
Damn.
Good.
That's not your
That's not a
music,
guilty
dude.
one. That's a different.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
like.
but I can't play that in front of anybody, dog. Yeah.
What are your friends listening to these days? You're the youngest guy we've had in here.
Man, a lot of, like, rap and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Tyler the Creator, which I like too. Childish Gambino.
He's dope.
Just like the more, like, top 100. I think I have friends that like The Weeknd. Like Kanye's good.
Do kids play music nowadays? Like,
You would be surprised.
Yeah, do you feel like you find more music on Spotify or playlists that are just kind of circulating, or do you find them more so just visually, or?
Yeah, so there's a lot of, mostly my friends show me music. When I hang out with them, like we show each other songs. I showed my friends
So
a
it's
Wings
still
song
word of
the
mouth
other
then,
day.
yeah.
And a lot of people that I knew in high school or just around have bands of their own.
really? It's
Yeah.
still a thing.
Yeah, no, you would think not,
Okay.
but yeah, no, a lot of bands going around, and I've played a couple bands and I played a couple shows with my band in San Antonio, and you meet a lot of cool guys there, and they have a lot of cool original music that I'm getting into now, like local music. Well, local, but San Antonio. We're not San Antonio, and a lot of it's really good, and there's a lot of talented people. Yeah, it's really cool to know.
Years and years, San Antonio had mariachis and
Yeah.
death metal.
And
That's
metal,
it.
yeah, the metal capital of Texas.
Well, yeah, because
Right.
San Antonio is an interesting city musically. It's
very.
like on one, it's like there's three spectrums. On one, you got country. On another, you got mariachi and all that. And on the third, it's just metal. I mean, like just heavy
Yeah,
metal.
yeah.
Like you'll see.
George Strait, Slayer, and mariachis.
Well, maybe not Slayer, but like more like Metallica or even
yeah,
Ozzy.
Black Shirt. Yeah,
Yeah, all
right.
those guys will come through. Yeah,
That's right up my.
yeah.
Mhm.
You remember the Paper Tiger?
Yeah, White Rabbit, dude.
Or I'm sorry, or I'm sorry, the White Rabbit. Yeah, it's the Paper Tiger now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember those.
I played my best show there, man.
Yeah,
I just saw a band there 2 weekends ago. I saw The Garden, which is like a punk band.
Oh
It's another band that a lot of kids listen to these days.
The
No
Garden,
shit, the
yeah.
Garden. I'll have to check them
Yeah.
out.
You hear
Yeah,
that,
so-
Garden? Come on out.
Come
The
on,
Garden.
the
The
Garden.
Garden.
Are they from San Antonio or?
Orange County, California.
Oh, no shit.
And it's two twin brothers.
Whoa.
Almost like Van Halen or like Pantera. It's
Damn.
two brothers, one on bass, one on drums, and they go. They're wild. Yeah, they're really cool.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, The Garden.
I'll have to check them. Do you guys have anything on the horizon coming up here in 2022?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we still got a bunch of shows that are. I mean, we got shows coming up. I know, like for example, this week. Well, we're supposed to be doing a gig tomorrow at this place called the Villa, the Villa, out in Green. We may be doing that one inside because it's supposed to be like 25 on Thursday. So, or 2 days from today.
Almost a year to the date of the Arctic blast
Wow.
of last year.
Oh yeah.
The Hall of Frost.
Hall of Frost.
Well, we're gonna figure out how that
Armageddon.
goes. We're gonna figure out how that goes. But yeah, there's that, and then I have we got a show out in Cedar Park on Saturday. Be at a Shooters,
Heck yeah.
and
Oh, I
then
know that place.
and then I got a solo gig in Fredericksburg on Sunday.
Nice.
Actually, well, we'll see what happens with that because it's supposed to be like 28 that night, and it's outside. So I don't know about that one, but
That time
we'll
of year.
see. Well, I mean, that's just January and February in South Texas. I
Right,
mean,
right.
that's just what it is.
Might have to break out the nylon guitar.
Yeah,
Those
so
fingers.
keep it in tune, right? That
I
when
don't-
it gets cold, I heard it tune goes whack.
Well, I mean, if I have to play in these types of conditions, which I'd rather not, but if I have to, I got some fingerless gloves. I got some jackets. Hell, I may even wear this again.
Heck
I
yeah.
don't know. But I got something to keep me warm. But it's still gonna be fun having to deal with it. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, that's kind of what's coming up on the horizon in terms of those shows.
Records?
Records, as in
Any
like,
records coming out?
I'm working on some new material. I'm working on trying to do some stuff. I'm considering I may do something where I might try to do like 5 new songs and then take like 5 songs from my first CD, like SOB would probably be one of them, and redo them and kind of update them a bit and maybe make like an album based off of that, something of that regard.
Nice.
That's just kind of an idea that I've been tossing around in my head.
Heck yeah.
Any studios y'all work out of here in town or in Texas?
Actually, there's a few. There is Mass B Productions in New Braunfels. He's out of Green. The guy's name is Matt Fansteel. He's the one who actually did my EP. He's excellent. He's actually done Dave's dad's CDs as well. I mean, he does great work. I've done a little bit of stuff at 512 Studios. I've done one of their live, the 512 live thing. I've played that. Otherwise, in terms of doing any work around studios, that's really about it. I'm actually getting into, and I know Dave's doing this too, but we're both trying to kind of figure out a lot of home recording stuff
studios,
and trying to do that. I actually just got myself another Shure KSM 32 mic. That thing is killer. Literally could put it on anything and it sounds good. But yeah, I've been working on that.
Yeah, well, they make it easy these days where they have like audio interfaces, YouTube videos, and everything. So
Yeah,
Can learn everything online. That's why I feel like college is obsolete nowadays. You can just learn anything you want.
No
There's a
kidding.
computer.
well, you could. It's just
Even tattooing.
I will say this. I will say this though. There's an exception to that because I do find that at least going to school in person, I prefer it because
No doubt.
I've done Zoom, and Zoom just bores me.
Can only imagine, man,
it's easy to get distracted on Zoom.
yeah, but whenever I'm unsure about something, even in person in college, I look it up on YouTube and have someone explain it to me.
The craziest thing about it, like at least for like the recording thing, is finding out it's basically a mixer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a really elaborate mixer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, live and recording, I mean, they
Yeah.
have a hand
yeah,
with each other, you know.
yeah,
For sure.
for sure.
Well, how can people find you guys online?
If you want to find some information about us online, you can check out my website at awrightmusic.com. You can go to my Facebook page at A.Wright, or if you need to be exact, it's at A.Wright3RD if you need to find the exact page. Instagram, I'm on A.Wright Music, and I do have my music for sale on iTunes. It is available on Spotify. I think there's some stuff on Amazon Music. I also sell some music off of my personal website as well, so they have it there. But yeah, I would say that'd probably be the best way to kind of find me and whatnot. I got stuff up on YouTube. You can type in A.Wright there or Anthony Wright Band to find, pinpoint searches. But yeah, those are probably the best ways you can find out and see what I'm doing.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, about the same. I have a Instagram at Ouroboros David, OUOROBOS. I probably spelled that wrong, but y'all will too. Y'all will spell it wrong too. But yeah, you can find me there. And then in the future, I don't know if Anthony is gonna get mad at me, but I have a band too. We don't play as much as me and him, and he's the main thing. But Ket, K-E-T, Spotify, future releases and stuff, all over. So yeah, that's probably, he said most of it though.
And just to clarify, that's Wright with a W. So
Yeah.
A-Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
It doesn't help. Or it doesn't hurt. Yeah.
Doesn't hurt.
Pornhub.com.
Well, y'all shred, man. Thanks for coming by, guys.
Oh man, it's
Great
been an
talk.
absolute
it's been
pleasure.
fun.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for having us.
Come back.
Yeah,
Anytime, man.
Let
absolutely.
us know when you're playing. We'll come out and see you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I'll
guys.
let you know. Yep.
Try to get you some shows in Austin.